Mister, on a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk are you right now? 1. Okay.
It's always a 1. Why wouldn't it be a 1? Everyone in the service industry has a story, crazy customers, wild orders, and WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring those tales from behind the bar.
Whoa, did you just struggle there a little bit?
Yeah, I couldn't land the plane very well. So yeah, my name is Carl. I've been in the service industry now for over 13 years and enjoying 90% of it.
Oh, yeah? 90%?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. My name's Riley, and I call Carl out on his bullshit.
So
For the past decade.
That's a long time. So on this lovely little podcast, we read stories off the internet about the hospitality industry. We talk about it. Should the situation been handled differently? Was it handled perfectly? Who's the asshole? Who is the hero? We rate that story 1 through 5. 1 being your average run-of-the-mill. 5 being a story you want to sing to the world. And we enjoy adult beverages.
Yes, we do.
And today we're still drinking from our previous episode, double cherry limeade gluten-free sour beer from the brewery I work at, Seven Hills.
Yes.
So we have a gluten-free ginger beer, but they want to do something else because they've had that beer on for 6 years now. So I think this is a good other gluten-free option for people.
I do like the gluten-free beers that Seven Hills makes because it's like the way I want a seltzer to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's actually flavor and it feels like beer, obviously, because it's just not, it doesn't have gluten in it.
It doesn't feel like you're just drinking like soda water that has alcohol in it.
Right, and I don't feel so full as I do with a regular beer.
Mm-hmm. So if you have a local brewery that does some gluten-free beers, go give it a try. Let us know what you think.
Just try out your local breweries.
That too.
Support local businesses. It's Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. This episode will be
The Friday
out
before Christmas.
Yeah. This will be episode 47, and 3 more are big 50.
50.
I'm going to be 50 years old.
No, you're not.
You want me to start or do you want to start?
You can start.
All right. So I got Am I the Asshole subreddit. Leave me alone 544.
I love it.
2 years ago. Am I the asshole for making a mad wall in the bar I work with pictures of people who tried to take their anger out on the bartenders? I'm a bartender along with Jen and Mickey, and sometimes we have really angry problem customers. We have security cameras at the bar, and recently my coworkers and I grabbed some stills of the people who got the most mad for no reason. We stuck them on the wall next to the smile, you're on camera sign, and when someone acts obnoxious now, we are like, do you want to be on the wall? It's not going to look good, bro.
I love it.
Anyway, a guy was casually seeing Joe comes to the bar and gets in some stupid disagreement with Mikey, who tells him to cut it out or who he's going on the wall. Joe told me it was fucked up to threaten people with that. It's a small town, being forever embarrassed like that where everyone in the town can see have an effect on people's jobs and family and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, guess they can stay mad enough to stay out of here then. And he told me that I was being a petty person and that if my coworker ever put a picture of him, he'd be coming to take it down. I told him maybe he should go, and it was super awkward. Am I the asshole for having the mad wall in the bar?
Not the asshole.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. If you don't want to be on the mad wall, don't act like a dick.
Right.
Like
No,
it should affect like your public persona in the fucking small ass town, because if you're being a dick to your bartenders, you're being dick to other people. Yeah. Like there are no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Have a mad wall.
Mm-hmm. So what the customer said to them was, this could affect their jobs in a small community and be forever embarrassed. Well, the actions that they're doing inside that bar are going to be the same thing.
Right. If you're being disruptive and aggressive in a bar, you know what else can affect your job? The police being called, an arrest record.
It's almost like,
so you know what? Having that mad wall is doing them a favor. It's doing them a favor because it'd be like, bro, you need to chill. You're about to get yourself on the wall, which the wall is one step before calling the cops.
Right. Yep. And like maybe they have a policy like, hey, if you've been good for 60 days, you come off the wall.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you got a timeout for being on the wall.
Tip me 200% and I'll take you off the wall.
Right. Yep. It kind of reminds me of, I've seen where people are either racist or whatever towards other people, then that company posts that of that person,
Yeah.
and then that person gets fired from their job. And
Yeah,
people are like, you
we had-
shouldn't do that.
The
Like,
Dubuque School District did that recently.
and it's like, no, people need to be held accountable,
Right.
and maybe they shouldn't do it in the first place.
Don't play stupid games, and you won't win stupid prizes.
Right, exactly.
Like, if you can't handle your booze and act like an adult, then maybe you shouldn't be in a bar.
Right.
Absolutely not the asshole. The asshole, first of all, are the asshole customers. And I mean, I can understand why the guy she was seeing was upset. However, a lot of times when people are upset at something like that, it's because they feel like they're being called out for something that they don't want to be called out for. And if that's the case, check yourself. It's not other people's fault that you feel attacked.
Right. Yep. Further consensus is basically saying you're not the asshole. This one guy goes, I had to ban some guys for talking
Explicitly?
about me in my bar because they assumed I couldn't speak Spanish. Their names and photos were sent to every bar on Main Street.
If you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
In this case, the stupid prize is getting put on the mad wall, and that's a you problem. Everybody who saw you in that bar that night who was mildly or reasonably sober is going to remember that you acted like a dick, and the word of mouth is going to get around one way or the other.
Right. Some guy goes, maybe I'm in the minority, but seems like a fun way to make the point. Also, I have a feeling you guys would take down the photos of someone who came back the next day and apologized.
Absolutely.
And I got 1,800 upvotes. And then the OP goes, yeah, we totally would, but no one's done it though.
Right.
Like, what
Right.
the
All
fuck?
you have to do is come back and be like, bro, I'm so sorry. I don't know what was wrong with me. Because they would have to go get the footage from the camera the next day and print it out the next day.
Right.
So then if you came back and apologized, you would completely eliminate that whole process.
Yep. Not the asshole. This is hilarious. The cardinal rule: don't fuck with people that handle your food and drinks.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was just funny because that'd be fucking hilarious. Like if I had a bar that was kind of like divey or just like a chill spot, I'd totally do that.
Absolutely.
You know, I think I've seen that somewhere. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. If it's
So when you get to open your own bar, are you going to have a mad wall? Say it.
yes.
Yes.
Here's what we're gonna do because it's gonna be pre-prohibition style. You know how like some bars have the old school like pictures of like when Elvis or like people were like, you know, with their or Jimmy. What's the guitar player? Jimi Hendrix. You know, like those old school like photos with the police thing. So maybe we'll
The
photo.
mug shots?
Yeah, the mug shots. So maybe we'll take the photo from the thing, screenshot it, and I'll photo edit it with a mug shot and put it on the board.
Like Al Capone's mug shot?
Yeah, do shit like that, black and white. Because now with AI on Photoshop, you can just circle things and say, "What do you want to fill it in with?"
And it'd be a nice little filter, and you can put the date on it. It'd be
Right.
super easy. That'd be so much fun.
All right.
We should save that story for the end because that would have been a much better tag or like a end of episode closer story.
Yeah, well, we fucked around. We found out.
Yeah. What do you rate this story?
What do I rate this? I think because it's fun, it's lighthearted, and it's telling people don't fuck with us because there's repercussions.
That's half of the story. The other half of the story is it ended a relationship.
Huh? What do you mean it ended a relationship?
The guy she was seeing got all pissed and she asked him to leave, and I'm assuming that they ended it.
What are you talking about? There's no guy that they were seeing.
Anyway, a guy I was casually seeing, Joe, comes to the bar and he gets in some stupid disagreement with Mikey, who tells him to cut it out or he's going on the wall. Joe told me that it was fucked to threaten people with that. It's a small town. Being forever embarrassed like that, where everyone in town can see it can have an effect on people's jobs and family and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, guess they can stay mad enough to stay out of
Okay, I
town
get
here
it.
then. And he told me that I was being a petty person, that if my coworker ever put up a picture of him, he'd be coming to take it down. I told him maybe he should go, and it was super awkward. That was literally 4 paragraphs out of the 6 in this story.
So, well, I must have like read it and not like, because now the bottom half of the story makes way more sense. Where like it means it's being awkward.
Did you black out while you were reading?
I don't know anymore. I don't even know what life is. I'm just here going through the motions.
Apparently.
Now the whole standing there awkward makes way more sense.
We got that on camera.
Luckily, I'm the editor.
You're not gonna edit it.
No.
That's too much work.
Okay, so now, yes. I'm going to give it a 2.4.
2.4.
Yep.
I've never seen a mad wall. We've been to a lot of bars. So that automatically puts it in 3 category for me. So I'm going to go 3.2. 3.2.
Hey, man, I'm pretty sure I've seen one somewhere. I can't remember, like, it was on TV.
Like, I know
Or
I've
I
seen,
went to
like,
one.
I know I've seen, like, the ones where people are drunk and asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it's being a dick with footage ripped off of security cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about if they did one for people who don't tip. You know, like, hey, this is your 3rd time you came in, you don't tip, and you put the other on there, like, you call it, like, the cheap bastard wall.
Yeah. See, to me, that kind of, I mean, should you tip? Absolutely.
But, like,
I think you're an asshole if you don't tip most of the
like,
time?
you're a repeat offender before you get on that wall.
Right.
Not your first time, because maybe you have, like, maybe it's been a rough day, you have $20 and you just need 5 Jack and Cokes or what, you know what I'm saying? I'm not justifying, but, you know, if someone doesn't tip one time, I'm fine with that. But if you come and repeat offender, I'm like, fuck me.
Right.
Fuck me.
I just think that'd be too hard to maintain.
You know. Some people have some time. Maybe instead of being on Instagram and looking at shorts all the time, you could take that 10 minutes and do some screenshots and do some photo things. I'm not saying use necessarily. I'm just saying in general. If you have a story similar to that, or if you've seen
A mad wall?
a mad wall or an asshole wall, let us know. Like, we have a link in the description called Am I an Asshole? Do you want to start a tab for our subreddit? Leave a story about a bar that you know where this is at, or take a picture of it, send it our way. Or if you want to leave us a voicemail, 563-277-0072. Leave us a voicemail of an amazing story that you are aware of. And on that note, Mrs. Roommate.
All right. I'm going to pull a complete 180, and I went for wholesome again, and this is the wholesome story that you didn't get last week.
Okay.
This one made me tear up a little bit, so be ready.
I'm not emotionally ready to be cry yet.
It's from the subreddit Humans Being Bros, and it was posted 5 years ago by Explains Turbo Sloth. However, they are not the OP. This is a picture of a post that they found, so I don't know who the OP is. I tried to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out because it was 5 years ago. It's called Bar Patron Helps Bartender with the Same Disability. And it goes. This happened when I was still serving, but really made an impact on my life. When I was 23, I worked at a private country club. I am deaf now, but was still mostly hard of hearing then. I noticed a member had new hearing aids, and I asked if they were digital. 20 years ago, this was the newest technology. He said yes, and I asked how he liked them and compared to the analogs. I had 2 huge behind-the-ear analog aids at the time, and I was very self-conscious about it. They finished up and left, and I didn't think much about it. The next day, the GM calls me into his office. He sits me down, and I'm sweating bullets because I'm always anxious about not hearing an order right. He told me, Mr. Amazing Member made you an appointment with his doctor in Big City. He hands me a check for $5,000 that covers the cost of 2 new digital hearing aids and the office visit. I was stunned and honestly still am that someone could be that generous. The new aids were awesome and really helped me in my environment. Eventually, they also helped me with a new job working in the restaurant POS industry. Every time they came in, I made sure he got a big pour and their drinks were down before the service started. It's 20 years later and I'm back behind the bar, now at a different club, many miles away from home. I wish he knew how much I appreciated him and how he changed my life. I'm scheduled for a second cochlear implant surgery hopefully next week. It's a struggle and sometimes I hate that I lost so much hearing. Every time I pour a KJ Chardonnay, I think of him and his family. Maybe not quite the same thing, but probably the best tip I ever received.
Wow. That's awesome.
Right?
That's like, because like you just never know who you talk. Because I've done stuff like that before. If someone is doing something and talking about something, I have someone, I'll ask them something about that. It's just like, oh, hey, you've been to that city or restaurant. What do you think of it? You know, blah,
right.
blah, blah. And for that person to go up to like, hey, like, how are those? I'm kind of having something shitty. But then, because you never know who you're talking to.
Right.
You know, you're talking to someone that's earns $28,000 a year, or someone that's fucking.
Well, it was a private country club, so.
Yes, okay, that's true. But still, you
And
know,
I know
like,
that in like I guess this is probably more common in a private club scenario because
Yeah.
it's more of like a friendly like relationship based environment.
right?
But still, that's $5,000,
Yeah.
and that's his whole life hearing.
Yeah, that's. I mean, like you said, 20 years ago, that's probably a huge upgrade and it changed. Like you said, changed his
Absolutely.
life forever because now he doesn't have to feel so far behind.
Yeah, because digital hearing aids, I've worked with people who have had them, and like you can. At the time, the technology probably wasn't as great, but they would filter out ambient noise more than the analog ones would. They connect to each other, so if one, so they talk to each other based. So if somebody's talking to you on this side, that you can hear it on both sides. It's wild.
Crazy. I have a friend. She had that surgery. I think that
cochlear?
that he's getting, and she just said like one of her. I don't know. One of the tubes is like had a malfunction. She has to spend a bunch of money to get a new one, and insurance won't cover it. I was like, ugh, that sucks. But
and when you think about like how fundamentally privileged it is to be able to hear and to see, like to have the senses that you quote unquote
rely
should
on
be
every day.
born with and you rely on every day in every part of your environment.
Especially like in the restaurant and bar business, right? There's so much noise. There's glasses, there's kitchen, there's people yelling, people laughing, music.
And that's why the digital ones were are a big deal, because you can filter out the ambient noise and it magnifies the like people speaking like obviously the technology has vastly improved in the past 20 years.
Right.
Well, 25 years now since the post, but
yeah, that would, if someone did that to me where I had some physical disability and they basically donated enough money to get an upgrade, that would have to be the best tip I've ever gotten.
Oh yeah,
like hands down.
I would start sobbing immediately.
Right. yeah I've been in those situations where a manager calls you and like, what the fuck, I haven't done anything wrong that I'm aware of. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. It was me. But no, that's awesome. It's good to show that other people are selfless and wanting to help others be successful in life, you know?
Right.
Because, you know, maybe, I mean, $5,000 is a lot no matter which way, unless you're like $1 million, like gets $1 million every year. But he was willing enough to help this person out, and that's awesome. So there's still kind-hearted people out there.
Yeah, I would say in this story there is no asshole unless these people are American. Then we can call the American healthcare system the asshole,
right?
Because it costs $5,000 to be able to hear, which you should be able to do.
Well, that was 20 years ago. What would something like that? You know what I'm saying?
25.
Yeah,
25 minimum.
Yeah,
and that might be for 1 year, might be for both.
I don't know.
It's disgusting how much hearing aids and cochlears and just like the surgery costs. It's
anything
disgusting.
in general.
And like you said, your friend that had to replace the tube, and how that might not be covered. And I mean, I work with clients who are on disability and Medicaid, and it's still disgusting that they get lower tier quality products because they're marginalized population. It's disgusting. The way that medicine is run in the US.
Yep. It's fucked up.
Yep.
So rating that story, I'm gonna give it a 3-4.
Wow. Explain.
It's not high enough, is what you're getting at, right?
I mean, I'm not saying it's not high enough. I'm saying it's not high enough for what I thought it would be. But like, also, you've worked at a steakhouse, you've worked in high end places, so like.
But I still this tip is still up there for being, I guess, okay, a 4-4, because the tip is it's more than just money. It's more than just a dollar amount. It's more than just giving this guy like $1,000 and saying, hope you can get your shit together. Right. This is something that altered this guy's probably life for the rest of his life.
He said it did. Because he had those, which he probably wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. He was able to get a different job. Now he's back bartending, and he's able to bartend the way, because like being a bartender with a dishwasher running and having hearing aids would be so impossibly hard,
Yep.
especially with old analog ones.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, I hear better in that environment than just you and me talking alone in a room.
It's because
but-
you have ADHD and the
What?
distracting noise. Shut the fuck up. But can you imagine, like, you know how when you have the transparent mode on your
Mm-hmm.
headphones, and then dishwasher's running, you can't hear shit because
Yeah.
you have that on. That's what the analog ones were like,
Okay.
except for, and those are digital. So
Right. Interesting. What do you rate?
I'm gonna agree with you. I think it's 4.4. To be in a position to give a gift that can alter somebody's life like that is amazing, and it should be. I don't know. It might be a 5, but I know it happens a lot, especially in clubs and stuff like that. But I've never experienced that, so it gets a 4.4 for me.
Right. I mean, I know some people get like someone get a large numerical
A monetary.
dollar amount. Like, oh my God, now I can pay rent for 3 months or
Right.
whatever, and stuff like that. So,
But the increase for me comes from the fact that he scheduled an appointment with
Right.
his doctor.
and his doctor's probably not fucking cheap.
Right.
He already knows what it's going to cost because he probably talked to his doctor. He
Right.
probably already worked something else. And hey,
Right.
I got this guy. He's a great bartender, server, whatever.
He took care of me. I want to take care
Care
of
of
him.
him. So can we work something out? Blah blah. Blah. And that doctor says, you know what? I bet that doctor probably gave a discount.
Maybe.
Too. Maybe.
I mean,
don't know.
$5,000 was a lot 25 years ago.
Yeah. But no, that's still awesome. So yeah. Thanks, Riley, for sharing.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I don't appreciate you being facetious.
I'm not being facetious. Just don't be a dick and tip your bartenders and drink responsibly.